It's the start of the month of May. You're kidding yourself if you don't think that what happens here today in the Grand Prix doesn't set the tone for the rest of your month.
Let's kick off the month of May here at Indianapolis.
Will Power will go to victory lane.
To the man, Power. Whoa, good job, boys.
Simon Pagenaud wins.
This will be the first time for the month. We'll do it again later.
Rinus VeeKay wins the GMR Grand Prix.
Yeah! Yeah!
Oh, look out!
Nice.
Colton Herta is the winner.
That's how you start May, baby. Let's go.
The Indianapolis Motor Speedway. If you have never been here, you have to add it to your bucket list because you have to see it to believe it. The enormity of this complex is simply amazing. As NBC Sports welcomes you to round 5 of the 2023 NTT IndyCar Series, this is the GMR Grand Prix of Indianapolis. Yes, we're road course racing today. The big track action starts next week, but plenty to be excited about, that's for sure. Hi folks, Lee Diffie along with a couple of gentlemen who truly understand and appreciate what racing in the month of May is all about. Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe, 19 Indianapolis 500s between them. T-Bell, not the Indy 500 today, that's coming in a couple of weeks' time, exclusive on NBC, but here we are in the month of May. What does this mean to you?
Well, any event here is special. Listen, this is Indianapolis. For 114 years, this place has been the OG of speed. And for these 27 drivers today, whether it's the Grand Prix or the Indy 500, a win here matters just that little bit much more. As you see, Joseph Newgarden getting ready to go. But I think today is something special because the temperatures are rising. There's a lot of unknown on what's going to happen today, and there are so many fast cars, James.
There are so many fast cars, 27 full-time entries here, and every single one of these teams and drivers, they want a good result here because, as we talk about in any other sport, momentum is huge. And as we head in to the 107th running of the greatest spectacle in racing, you want that momentum on your side. So a strong result today sets the tone for the rest of your month of May, and that's what these drivers are fighting for.
And Hinch, a strong result today is going to be tough because this field is packed not only with talent, but they are packed literally because it is so close. Qualifying yesterday between the pole winner and second place on the front row, separated by less than 0.003 of a second.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking going back to 14 years ago when the Fast Six record at Mid-Ohio in 2008 started. So just this season, 2023, already we've had 3 of the closest ever. It just speaks to the competitiveness, the challenge ahead for all these drivers, and how fierce turn 1 is going to be contested at the start.
And this is the times, we're talking about how tight it is. Let's put that into a distance perspective. This is a 2.4 mile road course. 3/1000ths of a second was the difference between pole and second place in distance. That's less than 6 inches over 2.4 miles. That is so close. We are talking about the smallest of margins.
The fans are ready to go. We're ready to go. We're almost ready to see racing here at the Brickyard, and so too are our teammates on pit road. We kick it off with Kevin Lee. Kevo?
Lee, welcome to the greatest motorsport month of the year. It is May in Indianapolis. And as discussed, the Indianapolis 500 2 weeks from tomorrow is very different from what we're going to see today. They're going in the other direction. It's a road course. But last year's winner, Marcus Ericsson in the Husky Chocolate car, told me just a few minutes ago that this does start the momentum. What happens here does apply, and last year his life changed forever, and it's the gift that keeps on giving. Yes, he's had very special moments and circumstances, but just coming through the tunnel again here this week, it all comes flooding back in. Seeing his picture on the banner, he's an Indianapolis 500 winner. He thinks he can do it again, and Marty Snyder, he thinks he's got a car good enough to win today on the road course.
Well, Kevin, one of the fun things to watch today are all the big names who will be starting in the back of the field, including the most recent winner, Scott McLaughlin, who drives for Team Penske. He won at Barber Motorsports Park a couple of weeks ago. In fact, there is no Team Penske driver starting in the top 10. All are confident with their speed, and also the playbook for strategy today is wide open. Why is McLaughlin so confident he can finish on the podium today? Well, Lee, in this race last year, he started 15th and finished 4th.
And Marty, there have been examples of other drivers as well coming through this field, from frustrating positions on the starting grid to feelings of great satisfaction with their final results. Let's show you some important figures with the GMR, the Global Medical Response Track Facts, here on the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Today is the 14th different race, not 14th different year, but 14th different race. We race here now multiple times a year, and it has offered some fascinating races over the years, especially in the last two occasions in 2022, especially this race 1 year ago in mixed weather conditions. It is hot, it is humid, it is sunny right here, right now. Will we see some rain later on during this 85-lap race, the GMR Grand Prix of Indianapolis? I can't tell you how good it feels to be back at Indy in the month of May, and we're going to go racing when we come back. What a great picture. What a great sight. The colossal Indianapolis Motor Speedway from high above. And we're almost ready to get things started here at the Brickyard. Before we do, Townsend, who do you like the look of today based on what you've seen thus far?
Oh, so much to study here and try to figure out, but give me Marcus Ericsson. He's got the freshest used reds because he didn't make qualifying round 3. He starts 7th.
I'm thinking Alex Palou. He's starting on the reds, and he is so good here. He's been on the podium before. He's the guy I'm looking at.
We've had 4 different winners from 4 races. Will we make it 5 today? Let's go trackside for the command. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2024 Olympic and Paralympic Games will be presented across NBC Universal, and the Olympic swimming trials will be held in Indianapolis in June. Please welcome Olympic swimmer, Indiana native Drew Kibler for the command for today's GMR Grand Prix.
Drivers, start your engines!
Command has been given.
Nothing like that when the drivers, the teams are given the command to fire up these 750 horsepower Indy cars, and they are fired, ready to go. We bring you the GMR starting grid and want to pay extra attention to 21-year-old Danish driver Christian Lundgaard. That's his car right at the front there, of course, the Hy-V Honda. He becomes the first Danish driver to ever win a pole position in IndyCar history. Well done, young man.
Did it in spectacular fashion yesterday, but look at teammates Jack Harvey there in row 2 and Graham Rahal in row 4. Start of this IndyCar season, none of those 3 populated anywhere near the top 10 as Christian Lundgaard stalls to start this formation lap.
Yeah, top rookie there, Marcus Armstrong on the inside of row 6. They'll get that 45 started up, and off he goes. A couple Andretti Autosport cars further back in the grid than we're used to seeing. Not the pace we've seen out of that squad so far this season, guys. Bit of a rough qualifying. Can they make it up today?
Wow. So Lundgaard got fired and almost went into the side of Kyle Kirkwood.
Yeah, that was a little too close for comfort. An anxious way to start your day. You know, it's been a struggle for a lot of cars getting off pit lane so far this weekend because you run such a tall first gear around the road course here in order to stack your top 3 gears close together on the front straightaway. But as Lundgaard tried to catch his way up to the front, James, see if you can get him.
Hey, that was appropriate that those 2 guys almost came together because Kirkwood, another young driver in the IndyCar series, got his first pole at Long Beach and converted it to a first win. Lundgaard is sitting on his first pole position. Can he convert it to his first IndyCar win? We will see, and it's appropriate, James, that we talk about Christian Lundgaard because fire him up on the radio. Honda track preview time.
Here we go for the Honda track preview. Let's see if we can get him here. Hey, Christian, it's Hinch up at the NBC booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. Hello, Hinch.
Hello, young man. Well, hey, look, starting from the pole here, you had your first race here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course, your first Firestone Fast 6, your first podium, and now your first pole position. It seems only appropriate, doesn't it, that you could get your first win here today and finally shave off that mustache?
Yeah, about saving that mustache sounds great. You know, as you mentioned, I've had some great success here. Obviously want to get that first win. I don't really want to wait any longer, so we're going to give it everything we have and see where we end up today.
Well, look, the race here last year was a bit of a roller coaster with weather, and we've seen some clouds on the radar. Are you and the 45 Hy-V crew ready to bring this thing home, rain or shine?
I'm absolutely ready to give this 45 Hy-V Honda everything it's got, and then we'll see where we're going to end up. But the team has been great all week. We had 2 cars in the Fast 6, and we're making improvements, and that's what counts at this point. So we need to reward that when we have the package which we had this weekend.
Yeah, it's been a great effort from the whole team and yourself this weekend so far. Have a great race, buddy. Bring it home.
Oh, will do. Thank you, Ed.
He is only 21 years old and he's only done 22 IndyCar races. The numbers are low, but the performance is high. Will we talk a lot about the Hy-Vee Honda today with Christian Lundgaard? We will see. All right, getting closer and closer to the green flag here at Indy. Kevin Lee, we check back in with you.
Diff, all three of the Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan cars have been quick this weekend. Jack Harvey with the custom entertainment on board has his best starting position in almost 2 years of Ford. It has been difficult for the team, but all three cars have had great pace this weekend. Jack Harvey said the key just rolling off the truck well, and despite some struggles, the optimism remains. He has a twinkle in his eye, ready for a result this weekend, where he scored his first podium in IndyCar back in 2019. Marty?
Kevin, coming off back-to-back second place finishes, Romain Grosjean came into Indy with high hopes. We're right on board with the Auto Nation on board with Grosjean, but it has been a weekend of disappointment and a fiery weekend for the 28 team. This was after qualifying yesterday. He was extremely upset with the traffic in qualifying, felt like he couldn't get a clean lap. In fact, said to the team, this is 3 straight weeks. We've got to do a better job of getting out, and people have to get out of my way as well. Lee, no doubt, he has been fast this year. He has been fast at this racetrack as well, but Grosjean trying to keep it tempered, starting 18th. It'll be a fun guy to watch this afternoon.
Oh, Marty, that's a great point, because he's been, even though those first two results don't reflect it, 18th and 14th, he was right at the front of the race and vying for wins in every race he's been in so far this year. So therefore, it makes his frustration a little more understandable. We'll see what the former Formula One driver can do here today at a track that he absolutely loves. Now, we are already well and truly into this total of hours, but we're pleased and proud to say we're bringing you more than 60 hours of coverage here on NBC Sports, on Peacock as well, during the month of May. And we're pleased to say that the pre-race show on Indianapolis 500 morning is back from 9 a.m. Eastern till 11, and then we really get into the lead up for the 107th running of the Indianapolis 500. There is the 2023 Honda Civic Type R leading all 27 Indy cars along this midfield straight to turn 7 and ready to go.
Pace car's lights are off. These guys are getting ready to fire off. And I'm particularly excited, too, to watch a few of these cars on different tires to start this race. You've got the softer red tire, the harder black tire. Graham Rahal in 8th position is starting on used red tires, so he'll be one to watch early to see just how long those softer red Firestones can hang on to this racetrack.
And no, they haven't changed the shape of the Honda Civic Type R. That is not the Honda Civic Type R leading the field to green, by the way. So we'll talk more about that later. We need to talk about racing right now, because this is exciting stuff. And make no mistake about it, that the driver field, they want a good result here to put themselves in a positive frame of mind for the month of May. Felix Rosenqvist on the outside in that smart stop Chevrolet for Arrow McLaren, right alongside pole sitter and the youngster Christian Lundgaard, and he's trying to hustle him a little bit, trying to hassle him, trying to intimidate him as they come to green. And Alex Palou in that blue and white Honda for Chip Ganassi Racing, the American Legion car, ready to go. Diving for pit lane is Benjamin Peterson, one of the rookies, but getting a terrific start is the pole man.
Green.
Christian Lundgaard got a flyer of a start, and Palou is going with him on the inside.
A lot of cars protecting up against the concrete wall. Drivers right now, they fan out 5 wide, and it's Alex Palou challenging Lundgaard, but having to back out.
Look at Jack Harvey. There's problems further back, though. Palou's in some trouble. He is stuck in the middle of that field.
Graham Rahal looks like he's got damage to the right rear. A lot of chaos there in turn 1 and 2. We've seen it before, but everyone's still pointing in the right direction as they file through the 5-6 chicane. 2 wide. There's a car going wide. That's Stingray Robb.
So Palou tucks into second behind the race leader. Harvey was really good there. Rosenqvist has been pushed back to 4th. Then his teammate. So 3 Arrow McLaren Chevys all in a row.
Look at the black and yellow car there. Colton Herta making a move. That was David Malukas in the black, white, and red car. Here's McLaughlin. Malukas, I think, got into the side of McLaughlin. McLaughlin might have front wing damage.
I'm surprised both those guys made it out. That was a ton of curb for David Malukas.
Teammates here, Rossi and Award side by side.
Good work. Rossi got around there, no problem. Stayed on track. Palou for the lead of the race on the opening lap. Alex Palou in the 10, the American Legion Honda, is going to lead the first lap of the GMR Grand Prix here at Indy.
Let's see how long he leads it. Christian Lundgaard coming back on him. This is the primaries versus the alternates. Lundgaard versus Palou, and it's going to be the 10, the white and blue American Legion Honda into turn 1.
Palou on that softer, grippier red Firestone tire, but that is for now. How fast, how quickly will that red tire wear out? Where does the advantage start to fall into Lundgaard's lap? Right now, for sure, you want to be on sticker reds to make moves.
And this is so important as we see Alexander Rossi trying to line up Felix Rosenqvist down into turn 7
Here
again.
he comes, here he comes. He is also on those red-walled alternate tires, unlike his teammate. So Rossi and Palou are on the move early, Kevin, as you'd expect.
And Graham Rahal's good starting position, the best all year, goes away just like that. Must be a puncture. Looks like the car is okay. They're not going to change the wing, and he is back out going from alternates to primaries, but we got more trouble on the track.
Big trouble amongst the teammates. David Malukas, Stingray Robb. What has happened to these two young guys?
Well, look here to the right front of Stingray Robb. Looks, I think, askew. Looks over-cambered there. Perhaps there was contact.
Dale Coyne Racing with HMD Motorsports and Dale Coyne Racing with Rick Ware Racing. This is not meant to be a sight. Two team cars stopped on just the second lap of a race.
They had qualified right near each other. Malukas in 20th, and Stingray in 22nd. So they would have started nose to tail. Let's see what happened here. Malukas on the outside of McLaughlin. Oh, he came right across. Well, he was too wide, but then squared up and kind of backed out and then went right behind. Let's take another look at it.
He wasn't going to make the corner. That was a game of chicken between Romain Grosjean and Stingray Robb. But let's take another quick look here at the initial start.
And watch the blue and white car second on your screen. Watch how Alex Palou pressures Lundgaard around the outside, and Lundgaard just ran him a little wide into turn 1. Watch this.
Yeah, he goes wide. What happened to Graham Rahal? There was contact from Kyle Kirkwood into the right rear of Graham Rahal that led to that puncture. And more contact.
Scott McLaughlin really came out a loser in that whole deal, getting squeezed.
I think Scott Dixon and Joseph Newgarden also got together further back. Here's
sure
Newgarden.
Did. Watch here to the right. Oof. Squeezing through. I think the contact had already happened with Dixon there. Chaos in turn 1, but that's typical here at the GMR Grand Prix. So some early pit stops. Let's get to Marty Snyder with more. Marty?
Yeah, Diff, both of these cars had a little contact on pit road after a chaotic start here at the Indy Road Course. You're going to see Scott McLaughlin in that red and white car back there, putting on a new front wing. Romain Grosjean also doing the same, Kevin, here on pit road.
Well, the incident just a moment ago that led to the yellow involved David Malukas. You've had a chance to see a little bit of a replay. What happened?
I mean, it's turn 7. It's a very inviting corner, and I mean, Stingray was battling with Grosjean there, and unfortunately, I kind of got collected in that. Yeah, I mean, just clipped that rear left tire. It's been unfortunate, especially that it's teammates. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. From my side, I was already halfway through the corner, did not see him at all, and yeah, I mean, they're coming way too quick. Even if I wasn't there, he would have gone flying with Grosjean. So, I mean, it's just really unfortunate for us. But, I mean, I had some sort of incident that was similar to that a lap previous with McLaughlin. It's just, yeah, I mean, nothing against Stingray. He kind of just mistimed that a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We move on.
Thank you, David.
Two cars from the same team out on the second lap of this GMR Grand Prix. That's not what Dale Coyne and his team were expecting to begin the month of May here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, that is for sure. So Alex Palou, the champion from 2 years ago, leads this field, loves being here at Indy. The Spaniard leads the pole sitter, Christian Lundgaard. And then Jack Harvey, who got off to an inspired start. He's there ahead of the 3 Arrow McLaren Chevrolets. Let's go back to racing here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Look at Alexander Rossi. He is hungry and on the prowl, drafting up behind Jack Harvey, looking to the inside now.
Harvey, will he defend? Certainly Palou does. Harvey runs deep, really deep on the brakes with a massive lockup and makes the turn.
How did he make the corner?
I don't know, but I'm not sure how that tire's going to hold up. That was a very big lock. Alexander Rossi desperately wants to get around. He's on those softer tires as we see Joseph Newgarden all over the back of one of the McLarens.
Here he comes, Alexander Rossi. Ducks out of that Custom Entertainment Honda and up alongside Jack Harvey and into third place. Makes very swift work of it. Joseph Will Power, pardon me, in the Verizon Chevy on the inside of Marcus Armstrong.
Scott Dixon dropping wheels just behind that.
I mean, if you're on red tires right now, you are urgently trying to get to the front around black-tired cars because you know the advantage is right here, right now, and it will not last forever.
The NTT data on board. Felix Rosenquist here trying to line up.
Active here. Overtake is active.
Say overtake is active after the first green flag lap, so you know he's going to be on the button trying to get around Jack Harvey. No real argument there from Jack.
200 seconds each car has, and you can deploy it in up to 20-second bits. The black, yellow, and blue machine there. Colton Herter on the inside of Marcus Ericsson. Kyle Kirkwood hits Will Power and turns him around.
Will Power drove Kyle Kirkwood pretty wide at the exit there. Kirkwood on the grass makes it hard for him to control his car, and the two come together.
You see the desperation in the moves from these alternate shod cars. And look, big defense now. Jack Harvey doesn't want to lose any more spots, but Pato O'Ward goes sailing by. That's primary tires to primary tires, so not the pace that Jack Harvey wants in this opening stint.
And it wouldn't surprise me at all as we watch Harvey's onboard here. Here's a replay of Colton Herta, first of all. Down into turn one, a big, brave, bold move. And look at Power. Drives Kirkwood wide. Kirkwood tries to stay with it, but there's no way you can control your car re-entering the track that way.
Yeah, he's four wheels on the grass. There's really nothing he can do, and unfortunately the spacing and the timing. This is on board with Kirkwood. It all happens so fast. You can watch it in slow motion and think, oh, you could have done this or that.
I wonder how race control will see that, because on one hand, yeah, Kirkwood came back on the track, but Will Power pushed him there. I mean, he absolutely took away 100% of Kirkwood's exit and drove him right onto the grass.
Well, it is under review, as you would expect from race control. We're on board with thanks to Snap-on. This is Joseph Newgarden. Let's have a listen to him at work.
He's got a flat spotted tire there. Go get him.
Yeah, that's part of why we're seeing Jack Harvey fall back. That huge lockup into turn one on the restart done some serious damage to that right front Firestone tire, and he's going to be having to hold on for at least a few more laps, even for the early side of the window, to get in and get those tires changed.
Doesn't look terrible for Jack Harvey up ahead through the S's, Marty, but got to think the vibration's extreme on the straightaway.
Yeah, Jack Harvey struggling with that, and Joseph Newgarden is +6 since the start of the race. That was Tim Cindric on the radio saying, hey, he has a flat spotted tire, go after him. Meanwhile, his teammate Will Power, the last car on the lead lap now, 20 seconds behind in 24th. All he said, Hinch, on the radio was, what was that about?
Yeah, that's when you're going to have to take a look at the replay when you get out of the car and see what he thinks about it.
Vibration doesn't look horrible for Jack Harvey on the front straightaway. It's there, but it doesn't look undrivable. He's on push to pass. He's holding off Will Power. Meanwhile, Palou is saying so long on these reds for now.
He didn't prevail in qualifying, but boy, did Palou look good in practice and has looked good for the majority of this weekend. Here he is, updating you on a couple of other drivers, notably from AJ Foyt Racing. Benjamin Peterson, you remember he came in coming to the green flag. He had radio issues. Meanwhile, his teammate Santino Ferrucci, who loves racing here at the Speedway, has made up 11 positions from his starting spot in the Sexton Properties Chevrolet. Santino Ferrucci is flying.
And what you're seeing is the difference in pace between these alternates and primaries. It's much bigger than what we've seen in other races so far this year. You have to run both compounds throughout the race. So drivers like Palou and Rossi, they need to make hay now while they have these alternate advantage, because at some point they've got to put those primaries on and suffer through a stint with the slower tire. So great job from Palou to get that lead. Not only can he control the pace, try and open that gap, but in clean air, Townsend, he's going to be able to preserve those red tires a little bit more than Alexander Rossi say right now in the wheel tracks of Christian Lundgaard.
Yeah, this is a great view right here because you get a sense for what is Lundgaard dealing with on the harder black tire in terms of balance, and then on board with Rossi. Marty, what can you tell us about the 45?
With David Letterman in the house today watching his young driver. They're trying to keep him calm and remind him with the strategy that we chose. Even though we were on the pole, we're on those primary tires, trying to keep the young driver from Denmark calm. Here's what the team told him a moment ago.
Obviously, we believe the reds will be quicker for a while, but we're hoping they'll fall off and we'll be able to catch up to them. And later on in the race, they'll have to go to blacks and we'll be in red.
There you go. That's part of the beauty of IndyCar, right, Hinch? The different tire strategies. So they're trying to tell them, hey, listen, later on in the race, we'll have the advantage Palou has right now.
Exactly right. And so right now, if you're one of these primary tire teams, you want to try to shorten this stint. You're going to come in maybe on the earlier side. If you're on those alternates like Palou, you're going to want to run as long and as late and as deep as possible into this first stint to try to make that shorter primary stint later in the race.
Race control has deemed Kyle Kirkwood avoidable contact. That is going to hurt the Andretti Autosport Honda driver in his overall race picture, and he has to drop behind the 12 of Will Power, who, as Marty mentioned earlier, at that stage was the last one on the lead lap. Power's back in 23rd place, as Kirkwood drops back as well.
Back at Indianapolis, former winner of this race, Rinus VeeKay, the first of those to pit to get off the primary tires, going to the alternate tires. Diff, it's been a struggle weekend for all of Ed Carpenter Racing, trying to play some early strategy to gain a little track position.
What a great place this has been for Rinus VeeKay. First career pole, first career win. He'd like to see some better results. He was hoping that this would be the place and the occasion to turn the 2023 season around. Here's some action here. Jack Harvey, Marcus Ericsson, and then Marcus Armstrong. This is 8th, 9th, and 10th, and the 10th place car, the young rookie from New Zealand, Armstrong, dives from pit road. He will not compete in the Indianapolis 500, just doing road and street courses only. This year, the two-time Indy 500 winner, Takuma Sato, will take over as Ericsson takes over from Harvey with a nice clean pass. Kevin?
The impressive 22-year-old Kiwi Marcus Armstrong comes in for an early stop. This is in the window. He can still do 2 more stops. He goes to alternates.
Bit of a holdup, it looked like, on the right rear there on Marcus Armstrong's car. It's going to cost him a bit on this pit sequence.
I'm curious to see how long Marcus Ericsson stays out on the black tire. So far, it looks like a lot of people want to dump the blacks early just because it's the slower tire. But I wonder, is Ericsson's team gambling that things might start to fall apart for some of the soft tire runners up front? How long does Lundgaard stay out on that black tire?
Speaking of Christian Lundgaard, want to tell you a great story. The most famous Danish racing car driver is 9-time Le Mans winner Tom Christensen. And look at what happened earlier today. Tom sent this on social media from a very young Christian Lundgaard back in Tom's racing days. Congratulated him on becoming the first Dane to win a pole in IndyCar racing, and wishing young Lundgaard a great day. What an honor.
That's pretty cool. That's back from Lundgaard's karting days, FIA European karting champion when he was 15 years old, and he has not looked back.
Marty?
He loves the fact that he's driving for his home country, but he did tell me the other day, he said, I had to call someone after I finished second here last year to remind them how big of a deal it is, and they need to cover me back home. They're certainly covering him after the pole here this weekend. Here's the thing they're watching. They are on those primary tires, and yes, Alex Palou has checked out to almost a 5-second lead over him, but Townsend, what they're noticing is that from 6 on back, they have a massive gap over Joseph Newgarden and those guys. So traditionally, you would want to get off those primary tires. I think they're thinking, let's run long here and match what Alex Palou is doing and have the tire advantage heads up against them after this next stop.
We'll get our answer on each subsequent lap time here, because Lundgaard has clean air, Palou has clean air. We don't believe either one of the two of them have to save any fuel, so it's a really good, clean comparison. Palou's last lap, a 12.7. Lundgaard, a 12.6, a 10th quicker. Are we getting to the crossover now? Jack Harvey bails in.
Jack Harvey started on the primaries from 4th position, but lost a few positions. Comes in from 9th, and he is going to go to the alternate Firestones this time around. Also, Shell Fuel. Harvey with a little bit of a slower stop. Not too bad. Rahal Letterman Lanigan back out.
And the hope for Jack Harvey is that he is now done with those primaries. He can use the alternates this stint and for the following 2 stints. He has kind of paid his due. He's done his painful one, and now he just gets to run hard. But Alex Palou out front with that clean air. He can take care of those alternates. But, man, I got to say, Lundgaard's doing a great job kind of matching him lap for lap now and really keeping Alexander Rossi at bay. That's key because Rossi's the next guy on the alternates. He's 5.5 seconds behind this man, Alex Palou.
Yeah, and this gap right here, the 4.5 that Lundgaard sits to Palou, seems to be shrinking a little bit. There it goes to 4.4. That's 2 to 3 tenths just on this last lap.
Hey, get your
Palou's now at a 112.9.
Second over Palou the last 2 laps.
Get your magic marker back out.
You got it.
What a great team performance from Arrow McLaren. 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Rossi, Rosenquist, O'Ward. Here's Pato right here. That is a really strong team representation.
And you called him Rossi, and I think Rossi is Rossi right now because this is the first time this season Alexander Rossi joining Arrow McLaren, the big up-and-coming team. The first time this year, Kevin, that Rossi is showing why they signed him. He leads his teammates at Indianapolis, a racetrack where he won last year.
And talking with Brian Barnhart, who is the general manager of the team, and his strategy, he said when they chatted after the warm-up, they joked that, hey, the car is actually turning the way we want it to, and it's a process. It's a different car. It's a good car, just like he had at Andretti much of the time, but it's a Chevy. It's Arrow McLaren. They do things a little bit different, and they knew it was going to take some time to acclimate, but Alexander Rossi is getting there. Car really good to start, but he's on those alternates. He's been told to take care of the left sides, and he's dealing with some understeer right now, so just trying to hang on to that first stop.
Still +1.
Hinch, does that feel like forever down the front straight in the opposite direction?
It's one of the longest stretches of full throttle that they have over the whole calendar, and all it does, and we've talked about this, Townsend, it just gives you so much time to think, and that can be a dangerous thing when you give a racing driver too much time to think. And we got some more leaders in the pits, Marty.
Including Joseph Newgarden, who gained a lot of spots on the start, but now has started to fall back and saying, hey, the rear tires are absolutely going away. For years, Townsend, this has been an alternate tire race. I've got to wonder if the primaries might be the better tire on the longer run. Lundgaard is just eating up Alex Palou, who just said a moment ago, my rear tires are absolutely gone. Grosjean also wanted off the alternate tires. He's putting on primaries as well, and a big wing adjustment, so these primaries really holding on well at Indy today.
Guys, look at the gap between Palou and Lundgaard. It's down a second just in the last 2 laps. Things are starting to change. Lundgaard goes to the front because Palou is bailing on that red tire. Things are switching up before our eyes. What you thought was the right strategy might be changing on the fly.
In the racing world, it's called the crossover point, where the primaries were working better than the alternates. Kevin, here they come. Multiple players on pit lane.
He's going to go to a set of the Firestone primaries. These are the black sidewalls. They're not quite as quick, but they will last longer, Marty.
Kevin, it's funny that Alex Palou was the one who told me after the first practice Saturday, I think this could be, or Friday, I think this could be a primary race during the race on Saturday. He is going to go to those primaries here. Could not stand it on the alternates anymore, and they just asked Christian Lundgaard a moment ago, can you stay out longer? He said, absolutely. I feel fine right now. No handling issues at all.
Interesting.
This has just thrown everybody's predictions 180 degrees upside down on their head. You thought that the primary starters were going to short stint.
All right, do everything you can to get around the 77. The guys hold us up. We got to pass them now.
And that's good advice. That's good good counsel. You don't want to get caught in traffic. What was so good was that Christian Lundgaard was running in clean air for those last sort of 10 laps. He needs to dispatch of the 77 of Callum Milot as quickly as possible.
Well, right when you cross the start-finish here, you look down and get a lap time. And for Alex Palou, this is what he saw on lap 17. Look at that. Lap 15, a 12.7, then a 12.9. That 13.3 is like an alarm bell for a lap time. Alex Palou knows, uh-oh, I've hit the crossover point. The Reds are falling apart. I've got to bail on what we thought was the right strategy and come to pit lane. Advantage now Lundgaard. He's going to try to run long to lap 25, 26, and then short stint Reds, and then double up on blacks at the end.
You two guys know this from the driver's seat, what a symphony it is in an IndyCar race team. Watch how close this was with Joseph Newgarden and his Team Penske pit crew when he exits his box. Everybody having to do their job. Look at the wheel gun, just gets pulled out in time. That's how close things happen in IndyCar racing.
And that was a quick stop too for the 2 squad. As we see Christian Lundgaard's crew, they are lined up. This might be the lap that we see the Hy-Vee Honda dive for pit lane. He caught that Junko's Hollinger car. They didn't want to get held up in the dirty air, so he dives in. A couple quick laps since Alex Palou pitted. Can he close that gap all the way?
I'm surprised Lundgaard didn't stay out longer. It didn't seem like the pace was falling apart. If he could have run longer, he could have shortened his red stint. Maybe they know something I don't, but little surprised to see Marty, the 45, come in early.
Well, the reason, and they asked Christian, he said, yeah, I can stay out longer, but Hinch nailed it. They caught traffic and their time started to slow down. They didn't want to mess around with traffic. They know they have a car that can win this race, playing the conservative strategy. They got a couple of extra laps there on the 10 cars. They're going to go with the alternate tires, but yeah, how counter thought is this coming into the weekend that they might go with a shorter stint on the alternate tires, and primaries might be the way to go. Scott McLaughlin also on pit road as well.
Yeah, you see it wasn't enough. Alex Palou, the blue and white car down in the bottom corner of your screen. You see Christian Lundgaard's going to come out, but he's got that a little bit of tire pace advantage now for these first 10 laps on those alternates. So it's going to sort of even out, I think, here in about 5 or 6 laps.
I agree. I think Lundgaard's going to catch Palou very quickly, especially because Palou finds himself behind Kyle Kirkwood, who had to give up so much track position there. So if Palou...
on new tires, we got to make hay around him.
Got to make hay, otherwise Lundgaard's coming.
Lundgaard comes from good racing stock. His father, Henrik, raced in the World Rally Championship. So, you know that the DNA is good there for this young man who has found America as his racing home. And that's what he said yesterday, if you weren't with us in qualifying. He said, what a great day to be in America, when he grabbed his first career NTT P1 pole position award and that bonus championship point. Marty, here comes Colton Herta.
Yeah, it's been a rough weekend for Colton Herta. He lost an engine in that first practice session, which was a long one. They pretty much missed the entire session. And now in the race, he said the rear bar, which is an adjustment he can use, is now stuck in place. So that takes away one thing Colton Herta can do behind the wheel. Hasn't gained a ton of track position, the defending winner of this race.
Yeah, the rear any roll bar, that is one of 3 major adjustments the drivers can do from inside the cockpit. And when it gets stuck in place, that's, first of all, not a very common thing to happen. It's a tight exit here. Is that Rinus VeeKay that he's come out right in front of? On those hot tires behind him, it's got to work hard to keep him behind, but here we go.
Check this out, the difference between the blue and white American Legion Honda, and look behind, here comes Lundgaard.
Oh yeah,
in that Hy-Vee Honda.
Lundgaard's red tires are primed and ready to go. They are at max grip right now. He should be able to catch Palou very quickly.
Marty Snyder, what you got?
How about the Arrow McLaren cars kind of running this as long as they could, pitting here on lap 23. Both Felix Rosenquist and Pato O'Ward. Quick stops for both of them, happy with the handling of the race car.
And Pato O'Ward is serviced and sent as they cycle back out, and Palou is still stuck behind Kirkwood. Does he make a move here? Trying to go deep under the brakes, he does, and he's able to clear the Auto Nation pink machine from Andretti Autosport. Now, what's Christian Lundgaard got to do?
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, you saw it was a bit of a late move, a bit of a desperate one, but he had to do it. He could not let Christian Lundgaard get any closer. And Kyle Kirkwood, knowing that his race has been compromised with that penalty, didn't fight too hard. And now Christian Lundgaard has to make quick work of the pink and white Auto Nation Honda. And here he goes down into turn 7. Not what Alex Palou wanted to see.
Was a lot more, was able to do it a lot more efficiently and quicker than what Alex Palou did. He's on those softer compound Firestone Firehawk tires, and that Hy-Vee Honda is really fast here today.
And you see the green lights flashing on the side of his dashboard. That's his push to pass. You get 200 seconds. It's about a 50 horsepower boost, and he is trying to close that gap and make that pass, Marty.
Taylor Kyle, the strategist for Marcus Ericsson, the defending Indy 500 winner, said to him, hey, I'm just curious, is the car hanging on okay on these primary tires? He said, feels fine to me. It felt way better than it did in morning warm-up. They're going to go to the alternate tires here, and you just got to wonder if they're going to flip this strategy on its head and make this run as short as they can and come back and run primaries the rest of the day. Right now, Graham Rahal up front, lap 23. You see his teammate Scott Dixon pitting as well. Back for more from Indianapolis now that first round of pit stops are completed.
Great to have you with us. We are racing here in the month of May at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And this is the GMR Grand Prix of Indy. 85 laps in total. There are 59 to go. We ride on board with the pole sitter Christian Lundgaard of Rahal Letterman Lanigan. His teammate Graham Rahal technically leads the race, but on a very different strategy than what this young man is. Let's take a closer look at some important pit stop information powered by NTT.
Yeah, look at this. The 45 getting it done on all phases of the pit stop. The in-lap 1.3 quicker. Total time on pit lane 7/10 quicker, 2/10 faster on the outlap. Advantage 2.3 seconds for Christian Lundgaard. Remember, Palou really struggling on the in-lap on the used reds earlier. And for Christian Lundgaard right now, he's got one car there up ahead. That's the 55 of Benjamin Peterson, and this is the move that got him to the front on the racetrack.
You saw it in non-stop. And that's turn 7, Hinch, key overtaking point on this track.
Yeah, just the tiniest little lockup from Christian Lundgaard. Got his foot off the pedal, got that tire rolling, and pretty standard stuff here. You heard from his onboard. Well, here, look at this onboard. You see that push to pass light flashing nice and late on the brakes.
And that softer red tire advantage, you could just hear it on the brakes. Just a late, healthy, heavy stab and a ton of grip available when the tires are fresh. As Pato O'Ward repays the favor to his teammate Alexander Rossi.
Yeah, they've done the tire swap now. Alex started on the alternate, switched the primaries, vice versa for Pato, so a little bit of synchronized passing here. They're racing each other, but they also don't want to hold each other up. Those are still teammates, and that's going to come into play here as Christian Lundgaard hunts down Graham Rahal. They're not really racing each other, but you see all the McLarens there running in lockstep.
Well, what a great day for Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. What a great weekend. It's been a turnaround weekend for the 3-car effort. Now, one of the men behind the name of the team, the Rahal side of it, Bobby, is out in California at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. Of course, the BMW prototypes in the GTP class. Bobby is watching very carefully and closely at his team and how they're starting their month of May campaign. But to have David Letterman here, one of the world's most famous television personalities, enjoying his life of semi-retirement, so to speak. David is here and having a great time, Marty.
Yeah, that was one of the cool things Christian Lundgaard told me is he had a text message and a voicemail from David Letterman after winning his first ever pole. A lot of firsts for Christian Lundgaard this weekend. Not only the pole, but also the first time he has ever led a rolling start to a green flag. He told me none of that really intimidates him. In fact, he said second or third today would be disappointing. We're ready to take that next step. We're ready to win a race. We have a car that can do it. We need to show it today. And one thing I love, Hinch, is this timing stand is constantly pumping him full of positive information, telling him what a good job he's doing, telling him the times of other cars. As a young driver, you know you need that positive information.
Yeah, I always loved as much information as possible. I consider knowledge power. Some drivers like to just be left alone, but Christian Lundgaard relishing in all that information. But now that he's caught his teammate, they need to make team orders here, get Graham Rahal to move over, give Christian the track position in the clean air, and a bit of breathing room between him and Alex Palou. This is time for teammates to start playing the game.
All right, how about the 9th place Marcus Ericsson, the reigning Indianapolis 500 winner, the championship leader in the NTT IndyCar Series. Let's have some spy cam. Let's listen in on what's happening at the Husky Chocolate Honda Chip Ganassi Racing Team.
All right, it's all in front of me. Critical we take care of these tires. We want to make these go as long as possible to shorten up that scrub red set. Focus forward. Doing a great job.
Taylor Kyle there in the box saying, hey, we need to make these tires last as long as possible. Doing a good job. Keep it going, but look after those things.
It's an interesting situation back up front with Graham Rahal and Christian Lundgaard. Rahal last pitted on lap 4, but then we had the caution for 3 laps. Both Graham Rahal and Lundgaard need to make 2 more pit stops to get to the end of this race if Rahal can save fuel and get to about lap 34. So if Graham can hang on, he's still a contender at the front of this race. I just wonder what that communication is going to be like between teammates.
Split your strategies. If I'm the team, I understand the position Graham's in, but I don't think you can take that risk. The bullet in the gun that's been the fastest has been Christian Lundgaard. He's been quickest all weekend on the team, qualified on the pole.
Kevin?
They'd like to make it that far, but they can't. They were hoping to get to 33, and then it was 2 more laps, and now it's collector light is on. We're coming in. Rahal will be in this lap.
So now's the time to help your teammate. You definitely know you're not going to be able to stretch it, and what you're forcing Lundgaard to do here is burn up tires and allow Alex Palou to catch Lundgaard.
Yeah, it's too late. I mean, he's coming in 5 corners.
Yeah, but even right here,
they missed an opportunity.
Look
big
at
time
this.
As Romain Grosjean's making it 3 wide with Scott McLaughlin and Marcus Armstrong in turn 1. And that was a primary shot car on a set up on 2 cars on alternate. So already in this second stint, those cars on the alternate starting to fall back.
Just get the sense that Grosjean's driving with a little extra bit of anger, frustrated after getting traffic and qualifying. There goes Graham Rahal. That clears Christian Lundgaard. He's got 10 laps on that softer set of red tires. Palou has 12 laps on the harder black tire. It should be a pretty clean, straight-up battle here, Kevin.
And the 5th third bank car is coming in after the contact early for the tire down all the way back to 23rd, pitting from the lead a little bit off sequence and coming in a couple of laps earlier than they wanted. Graham told me before the race, really worried about making the alternate softers last. Well, this is going to be the stint. He only did a lap on the scuff reds. Now he's on primaries to try to go as long as he can.
And there is his teammate Jack Harvey, who has dropped down the order somewhat. Let's have a look at what happened to the driver of the 30, the Custom Entertainment Honda for Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. Quick reminder that now is your chance to drive away with a new Corvette, courtesy of Hy-Vee. All season long, just enter for a chance to win one of 4 Corvettes. Grab your mobile device and scan the QR code on your screen that you see right there to enter. And we wish you the best of luck. Very cool competition indeed. Welcome back, folks, to Indy. Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe, Kevin Lee and Marty Snyder. Here is Marcus Armstrong and his teammate Alex Palou. They're on track at the same time, but Marcus Armstrong, that was not a positional move. Marcus is not vying for a podium at the moment. Alex Palou is fighting Christian Lundgaard. However, Christian Lundgaard is taking off into the distance, 2.5 seconds to the good over Alex Palou. Here he is, and let's take a look at some pit stop predictions powered by NTT, the pit window predictions on where we think the next stops are going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, you're really going off driver field and lap time of the race car. For Christian Lundgaard, he's in the window now where if he stopped now, he could make it with 1 more additional stop, going 50 laps to the finish. But I think for Lundgaard, he's going to hang on, wait for Benjamin Peterson to either let him by or maybe pit, and keep an eye on his last lap times. Last lap, James, a 13.4 for Lundgaard. Okay, but not great on the Reds.
Not great, but a 13.7 critically for Alex Palou. 2.8 seconds is the gap right now to second place. Benjamin Peterson up ahead. He is multiple laps down after his issues at the start, so there will be a command blue. He will have to move over for the leaders.
You hear a little bit of a coast phase diff for Lundgaard. Normally we equate that with saving fuel. I think it's just taking the edge off the tire rather than going to wide open to slam on the brakes. He's introducing a little coast phase and not working them too hard in the brake zone.
Well, somebody who's had a pretty productive run thus far, Marty, is Colton Herter, 14th to 7th, but he just lost 7th to Marcus Ericsson a lap or so ago. What's the latest on the Gainbridge Honda?
Yeah, Diff, as you mentioned, started 14th today, exactly where he started and won this race last year. But is there a problem with this set of tires? Listen in on the radio.
Yeah, I'm getting tagged with this big vibration for some reason too, right front. 10-4. I don't know if I'm going to make it another 15 laps here.
And that's what they asked him a moment ago. They said, hey, can you make it 15 more laps? That's the window we want to hit. He's on those primary tires, which have seemed to be the real advantage on a longer run today. But when the driver, Townsend, says, I don't know if I can make it that far, how much do you on the timing stand trust that and bring him to pit road?
Depends on how well you know your driver and how much you trust your driver. Let's take a look at a little telemetry here. Thanks to Firestone as Colton Herta rounds turn 14, turn 1 of the Indy 500 oval, but they're going backwards down the front straightaway from the Indy 500 to turn 1, 180 83 miles an hour, 84, 184 down the front straight, all the way down to about 58.
Several positions further up the road ahead of the man we ride with is that phenomenally strong team representation by the Arrow McLaren organization. Felix Rosenquist, Pato Award, Alexander Rossi. Want to say hi to Zach Brown, the boss of McLaren Racing, Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, the F1 team drivers. They're keen viewers of the NTT IndyCar Series. What a great team effort. Here is the team Penske, Odyssey Chevrolet of Scott McLaughlin.
The latest winner in IndyCar Diff 1 at Barber Motorsports Park. What you're seeing here are the teams that are on alternate tires that put on scuffed alternate tires on the last stop. They're coming now. McLaughlin said, I can't make it last any longer at all. So there's a lot of drivers really struggling with the handling. In fact, a moment ago, Hinch, Pato Award said on the radio, I can see the left front is going to cords. Now, wait a minute. As a driver, can you really see when a tire's wearing that much?
I think so in this case. That's one of the most aggressive cordings that I've seen this year. So absolutely, it wears out a little bit, cleans up a little bit through those left-handers. But Townsend, that is two very distinct lines. And you see it now on the right-hand side as well, on the right front.
And this is the surprise for everybody. Pato Award only has 15 laps on these red tires.
They were used.
They put on the used ones, exactly right, Townsend. So those who put on stickers are going to try and make this run last long, but Pato obviously struggling here with those used tires.
Not struggling too much as he goes side by side with Felix Rosenquist in turn 10. Wow.
Let's take you to some radio on the 5. Let's have a listen.
We're almost to the cords on the left side.
You can move bias rearward. That might help rotation. We are not far from being able to pit if we have to.
Nick Snyder on the radio giving him great information. Maybe move the brake bias to the back, take the edge off the front axle, but I feel for Pato Award, those black lines, it's starting to look like a treaded tire as Armstrong goes past by Lundgaard.
That was code to Pato Award saying, hang in there. Just stay out there. We'll be pitting soon. I want to give a shout out to Romain Grosjean, who has been extremely frustrated this weekend, but the Frenchman has worked his way into the top 10. This is a driver who's coming off back-to-back second-place finishes in the NTT IndyCar Series. He has been the model of consistency. Yes, the first two races ended in crashes, but he has been very good. He's been the best he's been in his young IndyCar career, and he will climb up the championship ladder if he stays where he is right now. Although it's 10th, it's not where he wants to be. He wants to be fighting for a win. This has been a pretty good performance so far from Grosjean.
Good Pato Award's left front. You can see how violently it's starting to shake. It's coming out of balance as well as he drops the left sides into the dirt. No issues snaking a late move, or at least attempting there on Rosenquist. Meanwhile, the gap to the front is tightening as Pato Award comes to pit lane. Just 7/10 between Lundgaard and Palou.
Townsend, has been a terrific day for Pato Award. No worse than 4th on the racetrack. His strategist, Will Anderson, can you give me 5 more laps? He said, no way, man. No way I can make these tires last that long. They're going to go to the sticker primary tires here. We're going to get a good look at that left front. Absolutely worn out for Pato Award, who's got a quick car. Does he have the right strategy?
So up front there, Lundgaard and Palou keep going at it. And remember, we saw Marcus Armstrong, the teammate car to Palou, pass and unlap himself with Christian Lundgaard. So Lundgaard all of a sudden has gone from smooth sailing to choppy waters. I have to think he might come to pit lane right now.
Well, Hinch, what was it? It was getting up near 3 seconds. The advantage that Lundgaard had over Palou. It's now less than a second, 0.6 of a second. Palou's all over the back of him.
And you see that lap, he got passed by Marcus Armstrong. You lose a little bit of time when you're getting overtaken, Townsend, but then he had a whole lap in that dirty air, and that's really...
We're planning for scuff or edge if you want any wing.
That last lap of 13.8, they want to know from Lundgaard if he wants any wing. I think I heard him say yes faintly. Does that mean more or less? I think more.
We're not even halfway yet. Let's go for a ride with Lundgaard. Newgarden's in, Marty's there.
Yeah, Joseph Newgarden making another stop coming down here. He wanted a fairly significant adjustment for this set of tires, already leaving pit road. We will show you Pat O'Ward's left front here in just a moment. I mean, it's absolutely destroyed. Look at that. That's chunking out of that left front tire, Townsend. That tire, when they put it on, had 2 heat cycles and 5 laps on it. I mean, these drivers doing everything they can just to hang on at the end of these runs.
Yeah, what does Lundgaard do here on tires? It sounded like they were going to finish on blacks. He still stays out though. Lundgaard hanging on, but it does not look easy at all.
Has not had a race victory since Mugello in Italy in 2020. He's fighting for his very first IndyCar win here against an IndyCar champion in Alex Palou, who goes to the lead again in this race.
James, do I get the feeling that Lundgaard waited maybe 1 lap too far? Look at that right front starting to cord up. The left front doesn't look great. You see chunks of rubber flying off. I think they should have pitted on that last lap.
Yeah, because it's going to be even harder now with him in that dirty air. Kevin Lee.
Alexander Rossi, the winner of the 100th Indianapolis 500, is having his best run with his new team this season, Arrow McLaren, but the car was not great. Even though he's running 4th, he said it's been terrible at times during this stint. Another set of primaries, 1 turn of front wing, back out.
Spoke to Craig Hampson during the lunch break, Townsend, you and I did. He said, you know what, we're sick of qualifying outside of the Firestone Fast 6 and watching everybody else in it. We were fast in morning warm-up. It was legitimately fast. And Alexander Rossi, can he stitch together a great race result here this afternoon? How close do you like it? Take a look at this on pit stop rotation. Pato O'Ward, Alex Palou, Christian Lundgaard. 3 youngsters in the NTT IndyCar Series all fighting it out at the front of this field. This is awesome.
The undercut worked brilliantly for the number 5, and then after Palou came in, he came out, slotted right in between. There was barely a car width between O'Ward and Lundgaard, but that's where he landed, and now the race is on for what is essentially the lead. They're right now running in 5th, 6th, and 7th, but still some cars to pit up front.
Think about the patience and the determination that Pato O'Ward displayed with those tires that were well and truly worn out. He hung tough, Marty, and now he's being rewarded for it.
Boy, Diff, how often does a driver benefit from pitting early because something was going wrong on the race car? That's the case for Pato O'Ward. You saw it all in nonstop. A battle there, though. Palou coming up and trying to get him. Palou on primaries, O'Ward on alternates.
Palou trying everything right now to get by O'Ward. He goes to the outside of turn 4. Very brave, low probability move. But Palou is the faster car right now.
As close as you like, both drivers on the button, no doubt. Coming down into 7, Palou pops out. Can he get it done on the brakes? Yes, easily done there.
And he slides right across the bow of Pato O'Ward just to send that extra message. I am the guy. Move out of my way. I'm going forward. Chasing down Graham Rahal, who's still off strategy. A little short of what he needs to make it on one more stop. But meanwhile, Palou demonstrating all the excellence that he's shown all weekend, frankly.
You know, Rahal is technically off strategy, but it's not by much, guys. A little bit of yellow could actually get him into the window here, and you see Colton Herta sticking his hand out to get some cool air, Marty, because it is hot down there in pit lane.
Yeah, and it's humid, and hence you know as a driver that's kind of the worst condition. Heat's one thing, humidity a totally different thing. Car handling has not been bad once they got those tires off from earlier. You see a lot of drivers pitting here, but the battle still rages on there, Dick.
Look at that, Christian Lundgaard on Pato O'Ward. These young guys are turning it on here at the Brickyard.
And Marty, I believe Christian Lundgaard started the stint on used reds, is what she reported in the break. So Lundgaard has to make the tires work now because they're going to be a handful in about another 10 laps.
Correct, and he's only going to have to do about 17 laps on this run. O'Ward on the primary tires, as we mentioned a moment ago. So this will be the short stint for Christian Lundgaard, trying to gain some ground early.
And if you look at Graham Rahal there in the 15, you can see him looking in his mirrors. Teammate to Christian Lundgaard, Graham Rahal, probably studying Alex Palou and going to make sure he helps his teammate if he can at all.
He's having to lift so much. He's making a fuel number right now. This should be easy work for Alex Palou, who can go flat out.
But think about what the racing medicine is for Graham Rahal, Christian Lundgaard, Jack Harvey earlier in this race, meaning racing at the front of a field instead of being in 17th or 18th or 21st. Here comes Palou. Palou on the left of your screen, inside Graham Rahal, fairly straightforward into turn 1.
And the ebb and flow of this race is incredible. Primaries versus alternates, stickers versus used. You've got a little bit of everything.
And I wonder if Lundgaard, the young Dane, is asking his team, now move Graham out of my way. I need Graham to help me right now. Graham's on a different fuel strategy. I need to get by.
I think he'll be able to get by anyway because of that fuel, but if they're not talking to Graham right now and saying, hey guys, let's play nice, let's work together here, you've got two different strategies, Kevin, but right now it's tough for Lundgaard in those wheel tracks of the number 15.
So Graham was just told that's Lundgaard behind, but no message about let your teammate by, just 5 lengths back. They're trying to get to about 58 or 59 is the goal. So it's probably going to take a massive fuel save or a yellow to get him home, Marty.
And there goes Christian Lundgaard by his teammate, who does let him by very cleanly. Here's the interesting part, Townsend. They have told Alex Palou, listen, Christian Lundgaard behind you only has to run about 12 or 13 laps on this stint, and that'll be his final stop of the day. It's going to be up to you. Do you want to match that strategy or run long here while we have the advantage and take advantage of that time that we might have on the racetrack? What would you do, Townsend? Would you match the 45 or would you go a little bit longer?
Well, you're in first and second right now. You run at the front for both these cars. They both need to get to about lap 61 to get home. So Lundgaard's going to have to hang on. I think the advantage right now strongly in Alex Palou's corner.
But I still think you have to match. As soon as Lundgaard dives in, you're exposed from the yellow. If a yellow comes out after that point, the field comes out, you're going to lose that position, as we see Felix Rosenqvist now going by Alexander Rossi. So yeah, I think if Lundgaard dips in and you're the 10, you gotta cover.
Diff, these McLaren papaya cars running nose to tail, 5th, 6th, and 7th.
And it's appropriate that we talk about the Arrow McLaren organization, because recently they had a massive reveal, and it's their respective Indianapolis 500 liveries for the 107th running of the greatest spectacle in racing, and it's representing, I should say, the 1974 Indy 500 win, the 84 Monaco Grand Prix win, and the 1995 24 Hours of Le Mans victory. There's a bigger, deeper story to tell that we can expand upon throughout the Indianapolis 500. It's all celebrating the 60th birthday of McLaren Racing, of course, and its late founder, Bruce McLaren. Some really iconic liveries. The drivers love them. You'll see Tony Kanaan in a 4th entry for Arrow McLaren at the Indy 500, exclusive to NBC. You'll see that May 28th here from the Brickyard. 37 laps to go in the GMR Grand Prix of Indianapolis. Boy, has it livened up. Just one caution in this race and plenty of good battling. Are you as excited as we are to be back at Indy? I hope so. We're racing in the month of May. Everything leads up to the 107th Indy 500. You'll see that in 2 weeks' time. We've got 3 consecutive weekends of coverage, plus midweek practice sessions, more than 60 hours on Peacock and NBC Sports. We're super pumped about that, and so too is Chip Ganassi Racing in the American Legion Honda of Alex Palou, who boasts a 2.2-second lead over Rahal Letterman Lanigan's Christian Lundgaard. First-time pole sitter. Could he be a first-time winner today? There's still 34 laps to go.
Yeah, about 8 to 10 more laps until that last pit stop, and it's a good time to circle back on push to pass. Hasn't factored recently for these leaders, but how many seconds left for Alex Palou? How many for Lundgaard and O'Ward? There you see it. O'Ward's used a lot, just 31 seconds left. Palou in good shape with 73. Meanwhile, Graham Rahal, massive fuel save. He has the seconds, but he doesn't have the gas right now to use it.
You get 200 seconds in this GMR Grand Prix, and Rahal's used only 15 seconds of it. Let's go for a ride on the Hy-Vee Honda. This is Lundgaard. T-Bell, unfortunately, he's fallen a further half a second behind Alex Palou. What did you hear? What did you see?
Well, what I'm seeing is those red tires that he opted to run on this stint. Just he's struggling to hang on to the race car. I like Palou's strategy, which was to go to the harder black tire, and presumably both cars will finish on the harder black tire. Marty, where do we stand with Palou and Lundgaard? Do they have sticker fresh black tires to finish on?
Both of those teams do indeed have sticker primary tires. That's what they're going to go to on the final stop, which is coming up in about 5 or 6 laps or so. But I want to show you in Pato O'Ward, as we ride on board with Lundgaard and the Firestone telemetry, I want to show you the Firestones in Pato O'Ward's pit. Look at that, fresh alternate tires. I asked Will Anderson, his strategist, he said, listen, we're 5 seconds behind those two in front of us. We have to do something different than them. So they're going to run this stint long, put those on hinge at the end of the race. I don't know, a little tire strategy might be fun for that final stint.
It's not just strategy, it's actually rules as well. The way the rule reads, yes, you have to run both the alternate and primary compound, but the alternate compound has to be a sticker set to fulfill the rule. So they've run used reds so far in the number 5, but not a set of sticker reds. So they don't really have a choice. They're going to have to run long here and then try to just have a short stint on those new reds, make up as much time as they can.
But they put themselves in the danger zone. Don't forget that Pato O'Ward, as he runs right now, is second in the IndyCar championship. And if you run long on that final, their second to last stint, and Palou and Lundgaard pit here in 5 laps, you run the risk of getting totally caught out with a caution. So I don't know, it's a big gamble to push it into that danger zone on a late stop, but it looks like O'Ward's going to have to.
A very workmanly day by this guy and this team. The snap-on tools, number 2 of Joseph Newgarden. He'd jump up 1 position in the championship. He's made up 7 positions in this race. That's a solid day of work. Another reminder that now is your chance to drive away with a new Corvette, courtesy of Hy-Vee. All season long, you can enter for a chance to win one of 4 Corvettes, just like you see on your screen there. And speaking of on your screen, the QR code off to the right there. Grab your mobile device, scan the QR code, and we wish you all the best of luck. Welcome back. It is on at the front. And yes, that's the view from the Hy-Vee Honda of Christian Lundgaard, and that is Pato O'Ward now ahead of him.
And this is brutal. If you're a driver like Christian Lundgaard, starting on pole today with a very strong car, but now you're on those worn out red tires, watching not only O'Ward pass and pull away, but Alex Palou now 7 seconds up the road and waving goodbye as they approach their final pit stops.
Yeah, a 1:15.2 for Lundgaard on the last lap compared to a 1:12.8 for Alex Palou. It's all sort of coming unraveled here, because on the last stint they should be on even tires, but maybe even have to save a bit more fuel if he pits early.
Look at these last 3 laps, just brutal for Christian Lundgaard. Look at the consistency of Alex Palou on that harder black tire. And the reds, it just, you know, hindsight's always 20/20. You didn't know coming into this race, but for Lundgaard, this stint, this was a black tire stint.
Yeah, this one definitely hurts. Thanks to NTT for that information.
You know something interesting about Alex Palou, the 2021 Series champion? All of his race victories, which have been 4 of them, have come on road courses. So remember, he kicked off the 21 season with that victory at Barber Motorsports Park in Alabama, where we've just come from. Then he went on to win at Road America, Portland, and WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. So Marty, he could keep this trend continuing, Alex Palou.
He could very well. Pato O'Ward having a nice run as well, but the interesting chess match on pit road is what I'm watching. That's Barry Wander, the strategist for Alex Palou. Right next door, Ricardo Nault, the strategist for Christian Lundgaard. To his back, Will Anderson, the strategist for Pato O'Ward. All 3 of these cars that are 1, 2, 3 right now are back to back to back on pit road. Who flinches first, Townsend? That might be an indicator of who wins this race.
Christian Lundgaard, I think, has to come at the earliest possible window to make it home on fuel, and I think that's the next lap as teammate Graham Rahal, Kevin, in now. I think he can make it to the end.
I do too. He did 27 laps under green on this stint. He's going to primaries, but he lost a lot of positions trying to save fuel and save tires.
Puts the rest of the field in the danger zone, though, Hitch, because if a yellow were to come right now, Graham Rahal would cycle to the front. Look at Lundgaard on push to pass. You have to think this is an in-lap.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's been told push, 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 because we have to come in, get off these alternates, and try to run a set of primaries to the end, and there it is. The 45 diving for pit lane.
And get yourself out of that danger zone. Here's Christian Lundgaard for what should be his last stop of this GMR Grand Prix here at Indy. He started on the pole position for the first time in his career. The 21-year-old Danish driver Marty Snyder's standing by. He's coming your way, mate.
Working lap 60. This is on the very front end of what should be the final stop of the day with 26 to go here. He wanted him to go about 2 more laps. Ricardo Nault, his strategist Lundgaard, said, no way, the rears are completely gone. So getting off of those alternates onto the primary sticker tires. We'll see if he can gain some of that ground that he lost at the end of that last run. Look at that massive wing adjustment as well.
So here we go. This is either going to play out or it's not. And speaking of playing out, I told you going to the break a little while ago what a day it's been for the snap-on Chevy of Joseph Newgarden. They've just been grinding away, working at it. And Newgarden gets another position. That was on Felix Rosenqvist. And Newgarden is now up to 4th. He has made up 9 positions in this GMR Grand Prix. What a day.
Another example of a driver hanging on to the Reds is Alex Palou. Even though the car is handling perfectly, there's nothing wrong with his tires. He still has plenty of fuel, but he has to cover against the risk of a yellow. Marty, the number 10 is coming to you.
Guys, this is going to be fascinating because Palou has used all of his sticker primary tires. These are scuffed primary tires going on for Alex Palou, and as soon as the 10 laid out, as we mentioned right in front of them, Pato O'Ward, he laid out as well. Trouble getting the left front off of there, so alternate scuffed tires for Palou. A quick stop, and the 5 will come down. Remember, they'll go to alternate tires here for the 5. So the top 3 cars on completely different tire strategies as Palou leaves pit road, and Pato O'Ward will come down pit road.
No problem there for Alex Palou because, look, Christian Lundgaard's only just come off the final turn onto the front straight. Palou's already back out on the track and back out and at him.
But used primaries, that's not something we see a lot in IndyCar racing. Normally, you have saved enough throughout the weekend to run the race, but as we've talked about, we all thought this was going to be a red tire race, so teams were using them in practice as we see the AutoNation car, Meyer-Shank Racing. Simon Pagenaud, he has stopped.
It's been a rough weekend, Kevin, for Meyer-Shank Racing.
I'm hearing a loose nut, so they just came in and made a stop and obviously didn't get it secured.
Watch this
correctly.
get sorted out. Grosjean.
These 2 guys and McLaughlin, we've seen them together on the track a couple of times this year, haven't we?
We sure have.
Right at the season opener on the streets of St. Petersburg, and it ended in a lot of sadness into the tire barriers going for the win.
So, James, about 5 laps ago, we talked about Pato O'Ward staying out. I think he's going to run those sticker reds to finish. He's going to have to, so he's going to try to stretch this as long as possible, but it is high risk right now. A yellow destroys the race for Pato O'Ward.
And you have another car now stopped in pit lane. There's Santino Ferrucci. So we have 2 cars stopped in pit lane. They seem to be in relatively safe spots. So you'd think we can avoid a full course caution, but are you nervous if you're on the 5 stand right now?
Absolutely. You are standing, you are looking, you're talking to your spotters. Tell us if you see any drama to get our driver to pit lane.
And there you go.
The outside front guy is ready, and here comes
Fox.
You would have thought they want to make it to maybe lap 70, have about a 15-lap stint, but it's just not worth the risk of a yellow coming out, and the number 5 is in pit lane to throw on those sticker alternate tires.
He had a 30-second gap to Alex Palou, so this blend out could be kind of gnarly.
It's about 37 seconds normally, Marty, on a pit sequence here. So let's see how this one shakes out.
This is going to be very interesting with the top 3, in theory, battling for the win on different tire strategies. You guys mentioned alternate sticker tires here for Pato O'Ward. One note, it's gotten cloudy, it's gotten a little bit cooler. In theory, that one maybe held these alternate tires for O'Ward, putting them on with 23 to go. Look at that wing adjustment as well, going to the alternates.
There goes Alex Palou down the front straightaway. The blue and white car easily clear of Pato O'Ward.
How about Christian Lundgaard? Where is Lundgaard in the mix? He's coming down the front straight. He's at the top of your screen. And O'Ward at the bottom now. So there's Lundgaard about halfway down. This is easy for Pato O'Ward in comparison to that fight when these 3 cars were once upon a time all nose to tail.
And now you've got sticker alternates, softer and faster, against used primaries on Alex Palou. This is Pato O'Ward's time to shine. He has got to put the hammer down, close that gap, but not burn the alternates off at the same time.
It's going to take a whole lot of shine.
Pato, we have to do 23 laps. We need a 93 on fuel, and we have to do 23 laps on new red tires. You know what to do.
You know what to do.
Save tires, save fuel, but go close a gap and pass for the lead. That's all you got to do.
Pato O'Ward, I'm kind of looking at the sky going, wait a second, How do I do that?
But you know what? If he can get another podium, it's not ideal. Here comes Colton Herta. We'll get back to O'Ward in a moment. Marty?
They have tried to play alternate strategy all day long for Colton Herta, who has struggled with the handling of the race car. In fact, at one point saying, I cannot hang on to it any longer during a run. So the degradation, huge for Andretti Autosport and Colton Herta today.
What a contrast to a year ago, weather-wise, caution-wise. There's only been one yellow today for 3 laps. There were 8 full-course cautions in last year's GMR Grand Prix of Indy, and it was reduced to 75 laps. It was reduced actually to a timed race because it was so prolonged, and IndyCar had to make sure it fitted into the time window. So very different this year, very different for Colton Herta. Let's get an update on one of those 2 cars stranded on pit lane. Santino Ferrucci with Kevin.
He's missing the left front wheel nut. I saw it laying right in front of Alexander Rossi's pit, which is about 30 yards behind him. So the AJ Foyt crew just got there, so he's been sitting for several minutes. And he had a good run moving up forward early in the race. By the way, Larry Foyt told me AJ Foyt is here. He's doing great. He's here for the rest of the month to join the Indianapolis 500 again.
Brutal. The crew trying to lift and secure the nut at least well enough to roll Santino Ferrucci back to his box. Scott Dixon goes by there after starting his last pit stop.
Here he is. Yeah, Rossi and Dixon was still yet to pit. Marty standing by.
They have run the overcut, meaning running longer for Scott Dixon pretty much the entire day, and it's worked a couple of times. Check out that wing adjustment. Almost shot a Firestone across his Firestone tire across his pit crew as well. Dixon out. That should, except for Alexander Rossi, complete the final cycle of stops with 21 to go.
Dixon started 9th today in the PNC Bank Honda. How will it shake out for him coming in towards these final 20 laps here on the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway?
He's out just ahead of Joseph Newgarden, but behind Herta and Rosenquist. So progress for Dixon. Not a lot, but Dixon's all about getting what is available and not pushing for the impossible. Kevin, here comes Rossi for his last stop.
And Alexander Rossi was set to pit about 5 laps ago. Maybe just prepared in case it looked like he was going to go caution. But they wanted to go as long as they can because they're going to use a slightly used set of alternates. And going 25 laps would have been really difficult. Still 21 with the way people have been fearing how they degrade is going to be tough for Rossi. Right now he's in position to come back out in 3rd, I think.
Yeah, let's have a look where he blends, Kevin. That's a great point. And it's been a really solid run from Alexander Rossi today. The Arrow McLaren Chevrolet. And let's just see where he pops back out, fellas.
Lundgaard's been trapped behind Benjamin Peterson here.
Look right, look right. Look who's coming. Here comes Colton Herta. Here comes a team car. There goes Lundgaard. And Rossi will cycle back out behind Christian Lundgaard and take the fight to him. 2 different tire types there. Primaries versus the alternates on Rossi's car. Let's see how this shakes out for Alexander over these final 20 laps.
The other thing to watch, guys, is that gap up front. Pato O'Ward, 2.8 seconds now to Alex Palou. It's been swinging a little bit. It's just changed here. That's not accurate. We just need to cycle through. There you go, 2.7 now.
Tell you what, if Rossi can get up there, mix it up with Lundgaard and get by him, it could be his first podium in Arrow McLaren colors. Still plenty of this race to go as Rossi is on the attack. With EMS Week taking place later this month, we wanted to take a moment to recognize GMR's nearly 38,000 team members that answer the call to serve at a moment's notice, positively impacting countless lives and thousands of communities. Whether you're looking to make an impact in your local community or across the country, we have the role for you. Your future starts today at gmr.net/careers. And we thank all of the GMR team members. Of course, you see our AMR safety team a lot. That is part of the global medical response larger family picture. It's a pretty good picture for Alex Palou as we welcome you back to Indy. Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe with you, Kevin Lee and Marty Snyder. It's been an entertaining and interesting day, but if you're this Spaniard, you are loving life because Palou is 11.5 seconds out in front.
Utterly dominant through the last couple of stints. I mean, they've just nailed the strategy perfect too on tire selection on the last stint. Palou's got some lap cars in front of him, but such a nice gap, and Pato O'Ward in seconds really going to have to manage tire wear.
Let's get an update on Simon Pagenaud and the Meyer Shank Honda. What happened, Kevin? What happened to Simon?
Well, he was having a pretty decent day, flirting with the top 10, but let's watch this pit stop and watch the right rear. I just spoke with Michael Shank. There was a wheel nut problem, but he said, we don't know what it is. We looked at our own video to diagnose it. We don't think that we had any kind of an error on the pit stop, so maybe some sort of other issue involved that caused them to stop. And you see it going away there, but they think they got it on securely, so Mike said we got to go back and be able to figure out and diagnose what exactly went wrong.
Yeah, it could be a failure with the nut itself, could be something wrong with the hub. You just never know until you get the car back and can investigate, but still, it's a bummer of a way to have your day end.
Yeah, you saw the wheel nut go flying.
Reminiscent of what happened to Graham Rahal several years ago in the Indianapolis 500, by the way. 2 weekends' time, you'll see it exclusively here on NBC, the 107th running of the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indy 500. 16 laps to go here on the road course at the Brickyard, and Alex Palou cruising, loving life. 11.5 seconds out in front of Pato O'Ward, and then Christian Lundgaard, and look who's looming in his mirrors. Here comes Alexander Rossi.
Yeah, he smells blood. He wants that first podium of the season, first podium with the new team, and with the tire advantage he's got, the fuel advantage he's got, you got to think this one's just a matter of time, Townsend.
Well, Rossi has to go 20 laps on those reds, so for Lundgaard, he can make Rossi's life difficult as best he can. Try to force him to drive that dirty air aggressively and burn up those softer red tires, but you just get the sense Rossi's going to figure out a way to get by here.
He's hunting, isn't he? Displayed some patience there, wasn't quite close enough, Kevin Lee.
And much of the conversation today that Marty Snyder and I had been hearing in the paddock in the pit lane is, oh, we don't think that the alternate's going to last a full stint. Certainly not a used set, but Brian Barnhart maybe tipped me off today. He said, you know what, at Barber a couple of weeks ago, everyone thought the same. Penske figured out a way to make them last, and they're trying an alternate for this last run to see if he can get back up, maybe in position to win.
Well, in order to win, he's got to get by Lundgaard here. And each lap that Lundgaard can hold him off, it gets more and more difficult for Rossi. That tire, that red tire, is awesome on the first flying lap. It's pretty good on the second lap. But then as you stack laps and stack wear and degradation, that performance advantage, that stickiness just starts to fade away into a slick slidiness by the end of the stint.
And guys, just behind this battle.
Okay, just be mindful of them, Alex. If you need to go gray 3 and take care of them for a little while, you can do that. Plus 1.4 to Herta.
That's exactly what Brian Barnhart is saying. Gray 3, probably a less aggressive throttle map to try to protect the rear tires, but now he's saying, hey, you might be attacking, but you also got to be careful who's behind you. Hard charging Colton Herta.
I was just going to say, Colton Herta in that Gamebridge Honda. What a great day so far. Started 14th. Not a lot of speed out of the Andretti Autosport squad this weekend, Marty, but this driver is doing a great job to be running in the top 5 with less than 15 to go.
And they have run long on every stint, Hinch, but with these alternate tires on, they reminded him when he left pit road, this will be the shortest stint of the day. You're not going to have to hang on like you've had to do all day long. But Colton Herta, always good at the Indy GP. You mentioned it, started 14th today, and going into the month of May at the Oval, if you can finish top 5, that's a good day. How about Felix Rosenqvist sitting in the 6th position, and he does not have a contract next year with Arrow McLaren, and he does not know what he's going to be doing. I talked to him about that before the race, and he said, listen, this seems to be every year for me. The best thing I can do to make sure I have a job next year, just knock down solid finishes. It doesn't necessarily have to be a win, doesn't have to be podiums, just solid days. And Townsend, this certainly fits the bill. Started on the front row, looks like he might finish 6th.
Yeah, and to get those 3 Arrow McLaren cars in the top 6 would be a great achievement for the team.
Look at these two guys. If you'd offered them a podium before this weekend even started, both would say yes, please. Now they're fighting over the final step of the podium. Christian Lundgaard versus Alexander Rossi. Less than 13 laps left to run here in Indy. Final break, then we'll take you through to the checkered flag. A reminder that the NTT IndyCar Series drivers and their teams will again compete for more than $1 million in the People Ready Force for Good Challenge by being the first driver to win a series race on all 3 different types of circuits. That means an oval, street race, and a road course. So Alex Palou could join the list of winners here today. In just over 10 laps. Actually make that 9 laps as he comes across the famous yard of bricks. This time by We Ride, the Mission Foods on board with Alexander Rossi, Arrow McLaren Chevrolet. He's being chased down by his former teammate Colton Herta and trying to get by the Hy-Vee Honda Christian Lundgaard as he lunges down into turn 1 and not quite close enough.
But crucially, that was the last pull of push to pass that Christian Lundgaard had to defend.
He's out.
He is 0. Alexander Rossi at 19, Colton Herta behind both of them right in this fight for the final podium spot. He's got 50 seconds left, guys, and fresh alternates.
And Lundgaard's been doing a brilliant job to try to hang on to this podium spot, but it just doesn't look like it's going to happen as Rossi makes his move.
Finally, the patience, the persistence has paid off. Lundgaard tries to respond, but he can't. Rossi's got him and he's gone.
Now Colton Herta knows he's got to get by Christian Lundgaard, probably down into turn 1 if he can, to try to get the fight, take the fight to Alexander Rossi. With all that push to pass he has to burn, 10 laps to go, it's going to be close.
I think Lundgaard's driving to a pretty rough fuel number too. Last pitted on 59, so that's 26 laps to go to the end.
I heard it behind you now for position.
That's the longest stint.
Keep it up, keep pushing.
Longest stint we saw last year in the 85 lap race was 26 laps, and you can hear a bit of dejection out of the voice of Ricardo Nault.
Yeah.
They know that their bet is made here and they just need to hang on.
All right, let's tell you about Alexander Rossi this year. Let's just remind you, new team, fresh start. He'd only ever driven for one team in IndyCar, and that was Andretti Autosport. Kicks it off at St. Pete, missing the podium, he had a 4th. We go to Texas Motor Speedway, gets tangled up with Kyle Kirkwood on pit road. That would result in a 22nd place finish. Then on the streets of Long Beach, right at the end of the race, this happened. Wasn't Alexander's fault. That resulted in a 22nd place finish. And then, just 2 weeks ago at Barber Motorsports Park, he returns to the top 10 with an 8th place finish. So now, after changing engine manufacturers, switching to Chevrolet from Honda, changing teams, he is poised for his first podium since he won here late last year. And his new race team, Arrow McLaren, this could be a celebratory day of sorts for Alexander Rossi, but he's going to keep his eyes on in his mirrors for Lundgaard and Herta. Unlikely that Lundgaard will be able to respond, but keep your eyes on that yellow and black Gainbridge Honda of Colton Herta, who is still very much in the mix.
And just thinking back to Alexander Rossi for a second, one of the big missed opportunities there in that montage of drama to start his season is missing Texas most of the laps, most of the race with that incident on pit lane.
Yeah.
Think about how dominant Pato O'Ward's race car was. Think about how good Alexander Rossi is as an oval driver. What could Rossi pull off in 2 weeks' time in the Indy 500 if the car is as good as it was at Texas and he can stay out of trouble? He could be something special to watch.
As good as it was last year at the Indy 500, that team finished 2nd and 4th. So definitely a month of May to be excited about if you are driving a McLaren.
Talk more about the man who started on the pole position today, Christian Lundgaard, with Marty.
Yeah, Diff, while it may be celebration for Alexander Rossi and Arrow McLaren, I'm wondering how it's going to be for RLL and Christian Lundgaard. Henchy told me before the race, anything less than a win today is disappointing, but I also think it's important to keep perspective on how much of a struggle 2023 has been for this race team. So if you're Ricardo Nault and you got to talk to your young driver after the race who said anything but a win won't work, what do you tell him?
Yeah, I mean, you just have to tell them this is still a huge effort from this team, from this young driver. They did a lot of things right today. This was a tough one to call, guys, and with the performance that this team has seen all year, you've got to be proud. If you're Ricardo, if you're Christian Lundgaard, you got to be proud with this result. And more than anything, you got to be hopeful that you can replicate this kind of pace at a future race.
And listen, performance is a process, and they have to be satisfied based on where they are here in race 5 versus where they were at St. Pete in race 1. It's a massive gain and should give them optimism for the balance of the season as Felix Rosenqvist is pressing Colton Herta very hard.
Yeah,
in the mix.
We were talking about Herta hunting down Lundgaard, but now look at this. Herta's got his mirrors full.
And guess who's behind Rosenqvist? Scott Dixon in the PNC Bank Honda. He's not out of it either. So, there's Dixon in the background.
So O'Ward and Rossi in podium position. Could Rosenqvist make it second, third, and fourth for Arrow McLaren in the closing 6 laps? Wouldn't that be great for Arrow McLaren and Sam Schmidt, partner of the team?
Here we go. Here we go. Watch that orange and blue machine. The McLaren Papaya. Is Rosenqvist close enough?
Not this lap.
Those alternates just not holding on for Colton Herta. The primaries there on Felix Rosenqvist definitely looks like he's got the advantage. We talked about momentum at the top of the show. You said it. If all 3 of those McLarens are in the top 5 heading into the 500, that would be huge for this crew. He's going to try to line them up here on the outside of turn 7.
Switchback, switchback. Tries it once, thinks about it, goes for it. Felix Rosenqvist into the top 5 and blows it. Blows it, goes long onto the grass.
That was some trickery there from Colton Herta, just trying to psych him out. Which way you gonna go, son? And then he just got wide. That now exposes him to Scott Dixon.
Oh, Rosenqvist used to be teammates with Dixon. He must be looking in his mirrors and rolling his eyes and going, oh no, the 9 is on me now.
And think about Scott Dixon, the veteran of this series. He lives here and has for, you know, a couple of decades in Indianapolis, but he didn't have a cruisy week at home. He was testing a sports car in Portugal earlier this week. He had 48 hours in Portugal, flew back here on Wednesday, had to be with the team on Thursday, on track yesterday, Friday. Here goes Rosenqvist for a second bite at Colton Herta.
And it was a bad run. Oh, they called blocking on the 26. He had to give that spot up, so that's what Colton Herta did there. Timed it right to just make it into turn 1. Let's take another look at how this came about. Oh, sorry, this is a different replay. It's a Romain Grosjean.
Blocking is considered a move in reaction to, I don't know about that. I didn't see something that was even remotely egregious like what we've seen in the past. Maybe this will give us a better view. Colton is proactively to the inside. Yeah. Maybe it was that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wanted to see another view of it. I could certainly see how they landed on that one.
It was that second dart. I agree. This is another long shot.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
If he had just stayed that with that first move as Felix went to the outside, he might have been all right, but...
How well did Felix do to keep it off the grass? I thought he got those right side wheels, as Tony Kanaan says, oh, come on, man.
The king of blocking.
You'll see TK in the Indy 500 in 2 weeks' time. And here goes Dixon now. Dixon lines up Colton Herta. Jumps on the inside, heading down into turn 1. So another position for Scott Dixon as he continues his surge forward surge from 9th up to 6th.
Scott Dixon so good at hustling a race car at the end of a race. It's like he's, I don't know, it's like a parent grabbing a kid by the earlobe and bringing him to detention or something. This guy can just take his race car, run it up through the field. He's done it so many times. It's the kind of day that really keeps you in a championship hunt. Is now Joseph Newgarden, who's done the same thing, having a great day hunting down the Gamebridge Honda.
Never say die by the 2 team. The highest placed Team Penske Chevrolet. Let's go for a ride with Joseph briefly.
Might get him right here.
Nice move into turn 12.
Boy, Colton Herta really struggling just on straight line performance as well. It looks like things have really just fallen apart there.
Is it something to do with, could there be a change there? Or is it just the drive off the corner is so bad with the tires?
Destroying them on the straightaways, even on the short pole there to turn 12. You are laterally loaded.
You can see, again, you can see that graining coming on the right front there. So definitely a lot of hard push laps for Colton Herta on this last set.
He's got nothing at the back of the car. I think the powertrain's fine, the straight line speed's fine, the rear tires are just destroyed. Colton is just absolutely in struggle mode, trying to hang on for 3 more laps.
Look at this. Felix Rosenqvist, the Swedish driver, is trying to get by the pole man, Christian Lundgaard, and that would make all 3 Arrow McLaren Chevrolet team cars in the top 4, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Shout out to co-owner Sam Schmidt. I mentioned him earlier, a grandfather today. Daughter Savannah giving birth to young London. So congratulations, Sam. If this could be 2nd, 3rd, and 4th for the team, it'd be a great day. But up front with Palou. The gap just continues to grow between Palou and O'Ward.
And Marty, Palou has now led 50 laps of this GMR Grand Prix.
Only 2 laps stand between him and his first win of 2023. And he told me earlier this week, he said, last month of May at Indianapolis for us on the team was not good. I am determined to turn that around early at what he considered not one of his best racetracks. 7 races here, just 1 podium. Now it looks like it might be a win. And Townsend, I don't know if you agree, but this season for Palou kind of reminds me of his championship year. Very solid, taking advantage of quick cars when he could get his first win as he comes to the white flag.
Yeah, but think about what he told us at dinner last night when you said to him, hey, your consistency's been great. You've had the best, worst result. He said, yeah, that's one thing, man, but you've got to go win.
Yeah, he corrected me right away. He's not thinking about minimizing bad days. It's all about this right here. 1 more lap to go at Indianapolis at the front. This guy told us when he showed up on the scene as a rookie, I am a warrior. He's proven it today.
Alex Palou has finished runner-up in the Indianapolis 500. He finished runner-up to Helio Castro-Neves back in 2021 when Helio won his 4th. It was a great result, but it kind of irked Alex Palou because he felt as though he could have won the greatest spectacle in racing. However, what a way to start the month of May, because not only is he going to get his 5th career victory, all on road courses. He's never won on this road course, as Marty mentioned, but he is going to elevate himself to the leader of the NTT IndyCar Series Championship points going in to his Indy 500 campaign, and do it with authority. Look at that, 15 seconds out in front. The 26-year-old Spaniard, quietly spoken, but as soon as that helmet goes on, he goes to work in the most emphatic way. And look at this, Alex Palou comes onto the front straight here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Alex Palou wins the GMR Grand Prix at Indy for Chip Ganassi Racing in the American Legion Honda.
Good job, boys. Thank you so much. Yes! Yes!
That's how you begin a campaign in the month of May.
We talked about it. I mean, he had a great test here in the open test. The car looked very strong. Comes here to the GMR Grand Prix and wins it.
Yeah, boys. Thank you all so much, boys. Quite an amazing stuff and everything. Woo! First win with the American Legion. Yes!
And that checkered flag moment brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts. Great to go inside the team.
No, it's just great. I mean, it's this is the momentum. Like we said, these guys were super quick in Indy 500 qualifying last year, super quick in the race. We could see Alex Palou potentially pull the hat trick. That's the win in the GP, the pole for the 500, and the win. Simon Pagenaud is the only driver that's done it, but Alex Palou has now put his name on the list of drivers who could potentially do it.
No better time than to do it in May with that big wheel of momentum.
Alex Palou, a winner in Indianapolis. And can this be the theme in the month of May? What a victory. And is the new championship leader. We'll hear from him when we come back. You can get amped for the 3rd annual Big Machine Music City Grand Prix. It's August 4th through 6th, the only IndyCar event that races over the water. Tickets are available at musiccitygp.com in Nashville, Tennessee. That is quite the event. As we welcome you back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway here on a Saturday afternoon where Chip Ganassi Racing is celebrating Alex Palou's victory. Yes, they go up to that truly unique victory circle up there on the podium, and Alex becomes the 5th different winner this year in as many races. Tremendous variety and diversity this year in the NTT IndyCar Series. The American Legion Honda is there in the prime position. Our Marty Snyder is standing by. He's going to talk to him any moment now, but any driver will tell you this is how they want to get their month of May off to the best possible start. And Marty, Alex Palou has done it in the most emphatic way with a 16, almost 17-second victory.
What a dominant performance, and that is a lift ride diff that he wants to take in 2 weeks, no doubt about it. You think about number one, how good he was at the open test, and number two, the times he has come so close early in his career with Chip Ganassi Racing. The one to Helio Castroneves comes to mind, immediately finished second in the Indy 500 that day, said he learned a lot of lessons, but today he was the one taking everybody to school. Alex Palou, after a solid start to 2023, gets his first win at the Indy GP. Hands the steering wheel to Barry Wanderer, who called a masterful race today. Alex Palou, the winner at Indianapolis at the Grand Prix. Hugs for the crew. Second win for Chip Ganassi Racing here at the Indy GP. And this was indeed a team win. Going to get everybody a hug in here. Ricky Davis, the longtime car chief. Very special to Alex, their relationship, very close. All right, let's talk about it. You and just finish it off. You only got two more. How about that guy who called the amazing race, Barry Wanderer, your strategist? Boy, the strategy was crazy today. When did you know, hey, number one, the boss man, Chip Ganassi. A little sneak peek, maybe what you're bringing for the month of May, he said. So the strategy was everywhere today, Alex. When did you know you had, number one, the strategy, but number two, the car to be able to pull off the win?
Yeah, what an amazing job by the tank crew. American Legion, first win with them, so super happy. We honestly knew we had a fast car since P1 yesterday. The car's been amazing all weekend. And once we knew that we were starting on reds, I think we knew that we were going to fight for the win. So yeah, amazing work by these guys. I just had to execute.
Yeah, you told me that the month of May was not good for the 10 team last year. How determined were you to turn that around early before you get to the Oval?
Yeah, absolutely. We had an amazing test there. So it cannot be a better start than what we had so far. So tomorrow it's Ricky's birthday. I think he's going to be 35.
Is that true? Maybe, yeah?
It's an early birthday present for him.
So the boss said this is just a preview of what's to come. One driver has swept the month of May. Is that something that you feel confident that you can do?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we had the car the last 3 years, which has been close. So yeah, we'll keep digging, and hopefully it will be our day.
Yeah, this has been such a solid year for this race team. To get the win now, do you kind of feel, I know you're focused on Indy, but this is a potential championship run?
Oh no, I'm focused on the championship at the moment. Indy's gonna come on Tuesday, so I'm super happy that we're now with the first win of the season. Last year came too late, so yeah, we're starting off with the right foot.
What a way to start off the month of May in victory lane. Alex Palou, the winner at the Indy GP, Kevin.
Still a pretty good way to start off the month of May. For last year's runner-up in the Indianapolis 500, Pato O'Ward, who has now finished second 3 times this year. That may be getting old, but certainly beats the alternative. Tell me about your day today, what went right, and maybe what was missing to be able to challenge Palou.
I mean, man, hats off to them. I just think they were extremely strong today. They really were, so congrats Alex and Chip Ganassi. But for us, I mean, we're 2, 3, and 5 as a team. I think that's pretty freaking phenomenal. And, you know, the guys gave us a great race car. We were kind of just running our own race today. We were there fighting with Lundgaard and, you know, between all of us teammates. But once I got in front of him, I kind of knew I just had to try and minimize the gap that I had with Alex, but I just think they were very strong today. But yeah, so we were just kind of hanging on there in the end, just trying to not destroy our reds and just bring it home. Yeah, bring some solid points.
Mid 80-degree temps with a lot of humidity, the aero screen, not a lot of airflow. How are you feeling at this point? That with a race that went green most of the way.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is one of the toughest races that we have year-round, but you know, I don't spend all those hours in the gym to be struggling. So no, I feel great.
So you get to May, it's hard not to think about the Indianapolis 500, but first you focus on the road course race. How soon do you shift, starting to think about Tuesday practice and the Indy 500?
We're ready. I mean, our 500 started a couple weeks ago at the open test, so stoked to get back on Tuesday and just, we want to make it better. We want to make it the best we can, and you know, come race day, we'll try and give ourselves that opportunity once again, and yeah, see where we stack up.
Well done. Pato Ward, second today, second in the championship. And it was a very good day, as he mentioned, for Arrow McLaren. Alexander Rossi also on the podium. For the first time with your new team, you do it here at Indy. From where the weekend started to where you finish up, how do you feel about that performance and results?
Yeah, man, we've always been really strong on Sundays. We just haven't really qualified well. So that's the big focus for us on the 7 car. But the fact that Arrow McLaren got 3 cars in the top 5, like that's in this field and with this competition, that's a huge testament to the organization and what we have going on here. So it's a big confidence boost and good momentum going into the most important race of the year.
In some ways, do you feel like maybe you've turned a corner? We know it's a process with the new team, but I know in the warm-up today, you kind of felt like, hey, the car is turning the way I want it to turn. Are you almost there?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been there. Like I said, we've been there on Sundays all year. You know, we had a good day going in Texas. You know, we were a lap away from finishing the top 6 at Long Beach. It's just we haven't quite executed completely. But you know, the pace in the car is there. It's a really lovely race car to drive. We got to find a way to extract a little bit more performance for optimal lap time, at least on the 7 car side.
Well done today. Thank you, Alexander. What a day for Arrow McLaren. Let's check back in with Marty.
Well, Kevin, when Christian Lundgaard and I talked yesterday after qualifying and again this morning, you told me, hey, anything but a win is a disappointing day. How do you process the 4th place finish?
Right now, I'm satisfied with the 4th. It was a tough day. The RLL 45 Hy-Vee Honda has just been quick all weekend. It wasn't as quick today, unfortunately, but to come home with 4th, there was a point in this race where I thought we weren't going to finish in the top 10 with that pace and balance of the car. So to end up 4th is a win right now. But I think we need to look at the perspective of how great performance-wise we've been all weekend. And that's the positives to take from this weekend, and we'll move on. And now we've kickstarted the month of May.
Yeah. How much of a handful was the car when you were on the used reds? I mean, it seemed like you were doing everything you could to hang on. You asked the team, can we pit? Can we pit? And they had to hold you out to make a number.
Yeah, I mean, it was strange because that one set, the rears were going off, but the previous red set, I was just understeering like crazy, so I didn't really understand how we got the balance so wrong. But again, it's things we need to learn from now on. And of course, it's a set that's now run the Fast 6, and we're not in the Fast 6 that often. So these are the things that we need to learn moving forward. So we'll try our best.
Diff, terrific perspective from Christian Lundgaard. Starts first, finishes 4th.
And just a reminder, that guy there's only 21. He is incredibly mature for his age, and that was a terrific result. His teammate Graham Rahal got in the top 10. Talking about terrific team efforts, how about Arrow McLaren? 2 of their drivers on the podium. And American Legion has a phrase, be the one. Alex Palou was the one today. Time to take a look at the Pennzoil moment of the race. And it was the moment when Alex Palou and the American Legion Honda for Chip Ganassi Racing sealed the deal. He dominated today's 85 lapper by leading 52 of the 85 laps for his 5th career win, all coming on road courses. And it vaults the Spaniard to the lead of the championship for the first time in 2023. He leads the man who he was wrestling with in the race, Pato O'Ward, and Marcus Ericsson, who had led for 3 of the 4 races this year. He goes from 1st to 3rd. Somebody else who really fought hard today was Joseph Newgarden. He's standing by with our Marty Snyder.
Well, you can tell from the sweat pouring off of him. It was a physical day inside the race car. Looked like you were going to finish top 6, and then what happened on the last stop?
We unfortunately had a slow final stop. I think we had a slow plug-in, so I don't know what we lost. We probably lost 7-8 seconds just trying to get that right. So I think today was probably a 3rd place day. You know, if we get the final stop all good, that's probably where we land when we end up 7th. You know, so it's kind of been the story of the year. You know, just not great timing on some of this stuff, but not a bad day. I told the team this is a good fighting day. It was a great fighting day with a snap-on car. Team Chevy did a fantastic job. You know, I would have been really pleased if we could have left with the 3rd, but you know, we'll take the 7th and we'll roll into, you know, the big show here and hopefully have a really, really good day.
Considering you drive for the guy who owns the Speedway here, do you need a reminder of how important the next 2 weeks are at Team Penske?
Oh, no. We all know it. We all know it. But it's important to all of us, you know. The pressure's always there. I mean, but we all want to do well. I want to do well as anybody, you know, just as much as RP does. So we're ready. We're as ready as we can be. So you know, hopefully we can get it right.
There you go, Joseph Newgarden, solid finish today, ready to get the oval racing started, Kevin.
Solid also for Felix Rosenqvist, and what was a great day for Aaron McLaren. But you got some extra steps in. It was a hot day, and then you might want to see how many you got. Where did you have to walk from? Where did the car come to a stop running out of fuel?
Yeah, I ran out straight after the finish, so I got towed back. It was definitely a bit of a sauna sitting there for like 15-20 minutes. Yeah, overall, I mean, I'm really happy for the team. Top 5 for all of us. That's insanely good. Like, that's a very rare result in IndyCar these days. So big congrats to the whole team. I thought personally wasn't super happy with how the race went. We had some stints where just lost a bit too much on the final lap on the sequence on the reds and too much deg. Otherwise, apart from that, it was a pretty good race. I think me and Alex passed each other like 6 times out there. So I was in general a bit quicker in the beginning, and then he was quicker in the end of the stint. And I think that's what got him the podium in the end. And Pato did a solid sequence there in the middle of the race as well, which leaped him up into the front. So yeah, it was good. I mean, these days are rare, but you can always be better. So.
This is an entirely different race than the Indianapolis 500, but does having a good result team-wide, does that momentum in some ways carry over for enthusiasm or anything else?
I think it does. I mean, this is a track where we've been struggling a bit in general, not in qualifying, but in the race. And I think this was, even if I wasn't super happy with how it went, lost 3 positions, it was still one of my better finishes here. And as a team, I think we never finished as well. So big credit to the team for, you know, taking that step. I feel like we're pretty strong everywhere right now. Yeah, good feeling going into the month of May. You know, that's exactly what you want. We're going to have a long month here at the Speedway, and a lot of smiles already, I can see.
Top 5 today, and also a top 5 last year in the Indy 500 for Felix Rosenqvist, Marty.
Let's chat with a couple of Chip Ganassi racing drivers, Scott Dixon, who seemed to gain spots almost on every stop because you guys were running so long. But was it the start of the race, Scott, that really just put you behind for the rest of the day?
Yeah, just it's unfortunate, a complete mess. The PNC bag number 9 was super fast. You know, I think we went back to 17th on the start. We got caught up with Marcus, and then Graham spun in front when he got hit, lost his tire. Then another accident in turn 7, and then the next lap in 5. And then we just spent the whole rest of the race trying to make up spots. But 17th to 6th or something was pretty good. So if we had a caution, I think we would have been strong in the race. But congrats to Alex. It's awesome for the 10 car, and yeah, we'll keep our heads down here.
Nice rally. We'll see you in a few days. Let's chat with the from the pole sitter last year to the winner of the race last year in the Indy 500. A hard-fought day for you, but I'm sure you're ready for the one that's coming up, the Indianapolis 500, because when you pull in the tunnel, there's a giant poster of you as the defending winner. How are you excited to get things kicked off?
Yeah, I can't wait. You know, this is always a fun one day in the GP. You know, GMR Grand Prix. It's a fun race to kickstart the month, but obviously the big show is coming up here in a few weeks. But yeah, our day was. It's not perfect. We had a bit of a tough race. I think our car on blacks was really strong. On reds, we were struggling a bit. So, yeah, it could have been a bit better, but still another top 8, another top 10, so that's solid.
If you know what I love, that smile has been on his face all week long. I think it's going to get even bigger when practice starts on Tuesday for the 107th running of the Indianapolis 500.
He'll be looking forward to that. Hearing from 2 Indy 500 winners there. You know who else is an Indy 500 winner? Elio Castro Neves. He's part of the 4-time Winners Club. He's ready to begin his drive for 5.
Very honored to be in this trophy and to be part of history for sure.
Elio Castro Neves has won the Indianapolis 500. He has realized the ultimate dream.
This means everything.
Elio Castro Neves, 2 in a row.
Sometimes you're here for a purpose.
He becomes a 3-time winner of the biggest race in the world.
Maybe I'm here to do something wonders for people that sometimes don't believe in themselves.
Elio Castro Neves joins the 4-time Winners Club.
I want number 5 as bad as anybody.
Well, let me tell you, it's not the end of it. It's the beginning.
And I believe in magic too. I do.
And the magic is happening, guys. We're in the month of May. We're racing in the month of May.
Ready to get going. You see 3 guys on the podium here today. All 3 should be extremely strong in the Indy 500, but practice starts Tuesday and then qualifying coming up next weekend. 34 cars looking for 33 starting spots.
You know, I said at the top of the show, keep an eye on the 10 car, and I think this is a real warning shot to the rest of the field. This is where Alex Palou really excels. He is setting himself up for that second championship.
A reminder that over the course of the month of May, we have more than 60 hours of coverage on Peacock and on NBC Sports. And a reminder, too, that the pre-race show on Peacock, it's back between 9 and 11 a.m. here from the Brickyard on race day, and our exclusive coverage on network television on NBC for the 107th running of the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indianapolis 500. This guy here came very close in his championship-winning year, Alex Palou, who is the star of the show today, the winner of the GMR Grand Prix here in Indianapolis, flanked by a couple of Arrow McLaren Chevrolet drivers, a Honda on top, 2 Chevy drivers either side, and this will get everybody's spirits high, juices flowing for this month of May. It all leads to the 107th Indy 500. That's why we're here, and practice begins on Tuesday. Yep, lots of practice leading up to pole day, qualifying weekend. There will be an official bump, and then race weekend in 2 weekends' time. Local news is coming up, except on the West Coast. On behalf of the entire team, this is Lee Diffie saying thanks for watching IndyCar on your home of motorsports.